Morning everyone, this is Chris Ensor at Richmond Farm. Just moving the girls this morning. We're on twice daily breaks at the moment, going on to about a hectare per half day, 2 hectares a day. This is just under in this paddock. Thought it might be interesting. We've got the girls, they're quite well trained with these cells now. These cells that we set up in the bigger paddocks. You can kind of see I still have to stick one dog along the edge there and a couple of dogs along the edge in case they decide to cut the corner, or the younger hoggets that are in here spot the ones back and coming back on themselves. Still might happen. Anyway, thought I'd give a bit of an idea of what we're doing here. We've got the Kiwi Tech fencing as the divider here. So they are just looking like they might do that. Walk up, Pip, walk up, Pip. Walk up, Pip. Anyway, sit, Pip, sit down, Cobb. Yeah, so basically this feed that we've got in here really can't complain considering how dry it's been. We're talking, I think it's about 2-2. It's obviously pretty clumpy, being quite Coxford based, but yeah, if you look at what we've got there, it's decent feed really, and the ewes are showing that they're doing okay on it really. So yeah, we've got the Kiwi Tech set up, which basically we're using it to divide up because it's much quicker to set up, and it also works independently of waratahs and stuff. You can kind of just set it up with, basically you're hooking it on here, you hook each line on, and you can also put the reels onto these, I forget what they call them, the little hooks anyway. And sit down, Cobb, sit down, Runty. Basically I'm running a normal triple reel to divide it because they're a little less versatile, but it also I can leave them up for longer because the Kiwi Tech are moving along with us as we go. Yeah, I guess it kind of gives us that versatility. I can set it up off the quad or set it up by carrying the whole reel, so it works really well on the hills. Does take a bit to get your head around, and there are a couple of frustrating weeks getting used to it. But anyway, I guess it's another piece of kit to have. Don't know if you necessarily need it if you're not doing multi-day moves, but it really works on the hills when you can be walking out. I'll be walking out the standard triple reels and I'll be halfway, and I'll just, walking up hills where your steps aren't very even, and it will just overroll and loop around itself, and I'll have to walk all the way back down the hill to untangle it. Whereas with the Kiwi Tech, you've actually got it on you. The reels are right on the actual dispenser, or whatever you want to call it. So anyway, yeah, the girls quite like this system. They get pretty used to it. As you can see, I didn't even need to call them. Got a little hogget there which probably doesn't need to be being carried, but yeah, they've been scanned recently. I think probably our yeah, that's a lighter girl there with the tail, but probably our system with being probably selecting a little too much on hardiness has not favoured us with the scanning. We are sitting at about 140%, which is quite low probably for Wiltshires. Some of the Wiltshires that are from organic breeding are kind of sitting between 130 and 140 scanned, but we'd like to be up with the higher ones. But I think it might be to do with frame size. Like if you look at that one there, that's not a giant sheep. In fact, neither of those two other ones, particularly the one on the left, it wouldn't be much over 50 kilos, I wouldn't have thought. And so that might mean that just much more likelihood of carrying singles over twins. So that's sort of one thing we're considering, yeah, selecting maybe not being quite as strict on our organic principles, but making sure we get them up to a slightly more decent weight that hopefully will favour slightly higher lambing percentages, which really pay the bills more than the organic certification. Another thing just to note is we've got a few swallows over the top of them. Every time we move them, there's almost as if they're just sitting waiting for us to move each morning. We've probably got about 15 there, I'd say, or at least 10, maybe 15, I'd say. They just, obviously the sheep stir up the bugs and they pick up the bugs, so they're always quite happy with that. Yeah. Anyway, a bit of a long video this morning. I'll just show you the residual we're leaving. So what we're doing with this fencing also is leaving, we're grazing in the mornings. We're grazing where they usually like to camp, so along the fences, along the hedges in the shade, and then we'll put them in the area which has got the water, because there's only a water race for water in this paddock. We put them in the area that they less like to camp in overnight, and so that means that they're spreading the nutrition, the nutrients, the manures all on this side. They do drop a lot more dung overnight than they do during the day. So yeah, this is kind of the residual we're leaving. This is reasonable. They did get moved a little bit late yesterday because I had to pick up Amelia and then did it afterwards. We're kind of aiming for halfway between what's here and what's there. That's probably a bit too low, and that's, well, ideal considering that we've come out of a drought and we've not got much feed. Well, anyway, I've waffled on long enough. Yeah, another beautiful mid-June day. We're 5 days away from the shortest day.